headlines for this hour on VTV News. German President begins state visit to Vietnam. And Vietnam, Romania strengthen ties. In our war news, China issued white paper on legal framework for counter-terrorism.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier and his spouse arrived in Hanoi on Tuesday morning, starting their two-day state visit to Vietnam at the invitations of Vietnamese President Vo Van Thuong. After the reception, the two presidents, heading their respective high-level delegations, commended their talks. More in the following story.
The welcome ceremony for German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier, led by Vietnamese State President Vo Van Thuong, emphasized the aim to boost the Vietnam-Germany comprehensive strategic partnership for mutual benefits, peace and development. German President praised Vietnam's socio-economic growth, underscoring the enduring trust between the two nations. He expressed a keen interest in strengthening collaboration, especially in trade, investment, energy transition, and vocational training. State President Vo Van Thuong highlighted Vietnam's commitment to independent foreign relations and prioritizing ties with Germany. Political trust has deepened through high-level exchanges, making Germany Vietnam's leading economic partner in Europe. The two leaders also celebrated successful educational collaboration, highlighting the Vietnam-Germany universities' effective operation. In the economic sector, both leaders agreed to fully implement the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, aiming to boost economic cooperation, particularly in investment. After the talks, the two leaders witnessed the signing of a migration cooperation agreement of the two sides. They then led a press briefing to share the talks results with the public.
The German president and I evaluated our comprehensive cooperation, agreeing on key measures. We aim to strengthen tradition and explore new areas of collaboration. I appreciate Germany's support for Vietnam and seek continued assistance for swift approval of the EU-Vietnam Investment Protection Agreement. We urge the European Commission to promptly lift the IUU yellow card on Vietnam's seafood exports.
Returning to Vietnam is not just about reconnecting with a friendly partner, it's coming back to a country I highly value. We'll boost cooperation in labor training, addressing Germany's demand for skilled workers. Currently, a German business delegation is in Vietnam, exploring investment opportunities through discussions with local partners.
During this occasion, both leaders agreed to boost cultural exchanges to strengthen people-to-people understanding as they approach the 50th anniversary of diplomatic relations. German President Steinmeier acknowledged the successful integration and contribution of the 200,000-strong Vietnamese community in Germany.
On the same day, National Assembly Chairman Vương Đình Huệ held a meeting with German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. The National Assembly Chairman affirmed that Vietnam always values and prioritizes to develop relations with Germany. He proposed the two sides strengthen parliamentary cooperation while continuing to promote economic relations. The National Assembly Chairman emphasized that Vietnamese National Assembly wishes to cooperate and exchange experiences with Germany, including coordination in monitoring and urging the implementation of bilateral cooperation agreement. The German president agreed that the two countries need to further strengthen cooperation, including bilateral parliamentary relationships. The two sides agreed to continue to cooperate in digital transformation and green transition and enhance experience sharing in institution building and human resource training in these two fields. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính met with Romanian President Klaus Iohannis as part of his official visit to the European country. The Romanian president warmly affirmed Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính visit a milestone in forging the bilateral ties. Praising Vietnam's roles in Asia-Pacific, the president stressed that Romania always considers Vietnam the leading partner in Southeast Asia. For his part, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính thanked Romania for its valuable support for Vietnam over the years. The Prime Minister took this occasion to convey a General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng greetings and State President Võ Văn Thưởng invitations to visit Vietnam to President Klaus Iohannis. During the talks, both leaders agreed to enhance the exchange of delegations at all levels in the future. Furthermore, they pledged to encourage Romanian enterprises to boost investment in Vietnam, particularly in areas of Romania's strengths. The two leaders agreed to continue supporting each other at multilateral forums and international organizations and enjoy efforts to tackle global challenges. Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính had separate meetings with Presidents of the Senate of Romania, Nicolae Ciucă, and President of the Chamber of Deputies of Fred Simonis in Bucharest on Monday. More the following story.
At the meeting with the President of the Senate of Romania Nicolae Ciucă, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính said that his visit aims to promote the traditional friendship and multifaceted cooperation between the two nations. He hailed positive achievements brought by the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement, EVFTA, over the last 3 years. The President of the Senate of Romania, for his part, pledged to advocate the relations between Vietnam and the EU, and to push for early ratification of the EVFTA by the parliaments of the remaining EU member countries. Both sides vowed to bolster collaboration between the two legislative bodies and to continue close coordination and mutual support at interparliamentary forums. They also agreed to continue stepping up investment in trade ties, improve the effectiveness of cooperation in traditional areas.
During his meeting with the Romanian President of the Chamber of Deputies Alfred Simoni, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính reiterated that Vietnam always treasures and expects to strengthen relations with Romania. Vietnam will share experience in the field of legislation and supreme supervision, suggesting both parliaments advocate cooperative agreements reached between the two governments. For his part, Romanian President of the Chamber of Deputies affirmed that Romania always places importance on and hopes to foster the relationship with Vietnam. Both sides should promote the efficiency of the intergovernmental mechanism on economic cooperation, continue effective implementation of the EVFTA. The two sides pledged to boost collaboration in traditional areas and expand to other potential fronts such as IT, green finance and innovation.
During his official visit to Romania, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and Romania Prime Minister Ion Marcel Ciolacu attended the Vietnam-Romania Business Forum on Monday. The forum was co-organized by the Vietnamese Ministry of Planning and Investment, the Vietnamese embassies in Romania, and the Chamber of Commerce and Industries of Romania. More on the following story.
Highlighting the sound time-honored Vietnam-Romania relations over the past nearly 75 years, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính said the friendship and comprehensive cooperation between the two countries have been deepened in various areas. The leader said that Vietnam pursues the goal of an independent, self-reliant economy that engages in the international integration in a deep, practical, and effective manner. Vietnam prioritizes investments in digital economy, green economy, circular economy, and knowledge-based economy, with projects in the areas of high technologies, electronics, semiconductors, innovation, renewable energy, and infrastructure development, among others.
We should pay attention to the training and labor cooperation fields. Recently, many universities from the two countries have signed agreements focusing on human resource training. Vietnam and Romania span the same area, however, Romania's population is just a quarter of Vietnam's. The two sides need to exchange resources for mutual benefit. In recent times, labor cooperation has witnessed both benefits and challenges. I request the Ministry of Labor, War Invalids, and Social Affairs to review this issue to timely resolve it and continue to promote it.
Romanian Prime Minister Ion Marcel Ciolacu had successful talks, during which the two government leaders reached consensus on measures to bolster investment and business cooperation.
We aim to double bilateral trade turnover by 2030. At the same time, we encourage Romanian and Vietnamese businesses to take part in each other's markets. We will support businesses in accessing mutual markets as well as exporting to third countries. Romania encourages Vietnamese investors to capitalize on Romania's special offers to continue to develop.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính, his spouse, and the high-ranking delegations of Vietnam arrived back in Hanoi on Tuesday, concluding a tour of Europe from January 16 to 23rd to attend the 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum in Davos and pay official visit to Hungary and Romania. Coming up next on VTV News, Vietnamese durian export to China to increase. And presenting gift to policy families and poor households ahead of date. Welcome back to VTV News. Deputy Prime Minister Lê Minh Khái, head of the Price Management Steering Committees, chaired a meeting on price management results in 2023 and orientation for 2024 on Tuesday. Last year, average consumer price index increased by 3.25% within the range set by the National Assembly and the government. However, the Deputy Prime Minister noted that wages and the credit growth target will increase in 2024. Prices of some essential goods such as gasoline and food are forecast to have unpredictable fluctuations. Therefore, in the immediate future, he required ministries, branches and localities to strengthen price management during the Lunar New Year or state holiday and prepare plans to adjust the prices of state-priced items and essential public services, especially medicals and educational services. Vietnamese businesses are entering the busy productions and sales season ahead of the Tết holiday. This is also a time when businesses and individuals often require capital, particularly in the form of consumer loans. More to follow.
Tết orders have increased by at least 30% for this goods distributor. They require an additional loan of approximately $203,000 to replenish their stock and take full advantage of supplier promotions.
Some sectors have seen growth rates of 7 to 8%, sometimes even 10%. With competitive prices and effective promotions, we can outsell our competitors, thereby increasing sales and profits for the company.
Many banks have responded to this demand by offering consumer loan packages with lower interest rates, longer payment guarantee periods, and higher loan limits. In addition to the credit limit of 300% of the value of secured assets, we offer an additional credit limit of $405,000 during the peak season without requiring collateral. During Tết, there is a 20 to 25% increase in demand for construction and home repairs. Certain banks are offering loans with a low annual interest rate of 5%, and the disbursement procedures can be completed within a day.
We've launched an $88 million credit package with a 5% annual interest rate to assist people in accessing affordable capital. Customers can get loan approval within 24 hours.
Banks in Vietnam are mandated by the State Bank of Vietnam in preventing and addressing black credit activities. Black credit is characterized by its complexity and high interest rates, which contribute to social problems in rural areas. Therefore, the active participation of banks with extensive branch networks in remote regions is of utmost importance. In rural agricultural areas, we will provide capital for both agricultural and non-agricultural needs in the first month of the year, especially during the Tết holiday. At the beginning of the year, many banks prioritize consumer loans, acknowledging their importance in driving Vietnam's GDP growth by stimulating domestic consumption recovery.
Vietnam exported 188 million US$ of durian to China in 2022, according to data from the Chinese Customs Department. In 2023, Vietnamese durian export to this market skyrocketed to 2.1 billion US$, accounting for 31.8% of the market share in China, following Thailand. The demand for durian in China is expected to continue to rise. Meanwhile, Vietnam's durian fruit area is forecast to increase sharply this year. Therefore, some experts optimistically forecast that Vietnam's durian export turnover to China can reach 3.5 billion US$ in 2024, an increase of 55% compared to last year. Presenting gift and providing assistance for poor policy families, people with meritorious services, poor households ahead of the Lunar New Year festivals are good traditions of Vietnam. These meaningful gestures demonstrate the great unity of Vietnamese people. Along with many localities, Quảng Nam Province is organizing numerous activities to help locals enjoy a delightful and cozy Tết holiday.
This year, Quảng Nam Province presented Tết gifts to nearly 124,000 policy beneficiaries. The locality allocated nearly $1.3 million to give away over 63,500 Tết gifts.
Every year, representatives of the local authority bring gifts and extend good wishes to me. I am grateful for the provincial officials' care and consideration.
We conduct reviews of the situations of the local people, especially policy families, national contributors, and poor households. The department also pays monthly subsidies and delivers gifts from the president and the province to them on time.
Furthermore, Quảng Nam Province has provided financial support and gifts for poor households and earmarked over $211,000 to assist nursing facilities for people with meritorious services and beneficiaries of social assistance. In addition, the locality has also supported and given Tết gifts to nearly 1,600 disadvantaged children.
This year, we have delivered the city's gifts to policy beneficiaries, near poor and poor households earlier than previous years. We try to ensure that each family can enjoy a cozy Tết holiday.
Quảng Nam Province has given Tết presents worth over $4.8 million to disadvantaged children, policy families, low-income households, and social support facilities this year. Additionally, nearly 27,700 households have been provided with over 900 tons of rice from various local authorities, ensuring that every family would have enough food for the upcoming Spring Festival.
The International Union for Conservation of Nature's IUCN Green List is a global certification program for protected and conserved areas. It serves as measures of success in biodiversity conservation and sustainable development. Currently, there are 77 certified areas in 18 countries worldwide, including Vietnam. After the recognition of Vân Long Wetland Reserve in Ninh Bình Province in 2019, Cát Tiên National Park in Đồng Nai Province is now preparing to achieve this prestigious title.
Unlike other titles such as World Heritage Site or World Biosphere Reserve, the IUCN Green List is a measure of the standards for the protected area with the best and most effective long-term management practices.
Measuring protected area management quantity is relatively straightforward. You can measure the area of a protected area, the forest cover, the number of staff, the budget. But measuring quality and management effectiveness is much harder. And that's the purpose of the Green List.
Cát Tiên National Park is one of the 10 protected areas actively involved in the Green List program. Since the early 2000s, biodiversity monitoring has been conducted in the park, collecting data on key species populations, including birds, primates, deer, and crocodiles. The application for Green List certification at Cát Tiên has undergone appraisal and approval and is currently being submitted to the Green List Committee for final evaluation.
A standard that encourages a best management approach. It also acknowledges best management practices for protected areas. So when those best management practices and the components of the IUCN standard are applied and put into practice, it improves the resilience and the services that the forest and ecosystems can provide. So it really improves the functioning of those ecosystems and the forest.
We consider this a mirror reflecting what we will continue to do in the future, thereby identifying remaining problems and providing solutions.
Funded by USAID, plays a key role in supporting project areas to obtain IUCN Green List certification. The goal is to recognize and increase the number of protected and conserved areas that achieve long-term conservation outcomes for both people and nature. Currently, this initiative has garnered attention from over 60 countries worldwide.
Vietnam was among the top 10 destinations for Australian tourists in 2023, according to data from the Australian Bureau of Statistics. The number of Australian visitors to Vietnam last year has reached pre-pandemic levels, and Vietnam is forecast to be a favorite destination for Australians this year.
Vietnam's attractiveness to Australian tourists has been increasing recently. Australian tourists have found out about the country through social media or suggestions from friends or families.
Just through a few friends that had been here, and I think like Google, even on TikTok, lots of TikToks about it. Social media, Facebook pages as well. It's nice that you can see all different things from like the ocean to the cities and mountains.
It's always been a dream of mine to go to Vietnam. I've heard a lot about it over the years. The culture, the food, the people. A lot of our older friends have come over here in the past and they really love it.
Several economical and direct flights connect major Australian cities such as Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane to Vietnam's Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Data from flight ticket sales website Skyscanner showed Ho Chi Minh City was one of the 10 most searched destinations by Australians last year, with an annual growth rate of 246%.
The flight time is short with many options in terms of time and prices. Traveling costs in Vietnam are much cheaper than in other locations such as the US or Europe, even Thailand and Indonesia. A tour to Vietnam is about 70 to 80% cheaper than Bali, Bangkok or Singapore.
In addition, Sagan Tourists data shows an increase of 143% in the number of Australian visitors to Vietnam by cruise last year compared to 2019.
Vietnam has started to emerge as an adventure traveller destination. You can go kite surfing, you can go trekking, you can go bicycle riding, you can try different types of foods. The e-visa situation has opened up for travellers that want to stay for longer periods.
Direct flights, diverse travel experiences, and a 90-day e-visa policy have all contributed to position Vietnam as an appealing destination for Australian tourists.
Coming up next in our World News, China issued white paper on legal frameworks for counter-terrorism. And EU ministers agreed to establish Red Sea missions. China State Council's Information Office on Tuesday released a white paper titled China's Legal Framework and Measures for Counter-Terrorism. The documents explain the responsibility of law enforcement and judicial agencies in handling terrorism-related cases. The white paper affirms that China has established a sound anti-terrorism legal framework consistent with its realities to safeguard national security, human rights, and contribute to global and regional security and stability. As a victim of terrorism, China has long faced a real threat and has always attached great importance to law-based counter-terrorism efforts. According to the white paper, China has accumulated experience by concluding or participating in international conventions and treaties, as well as amending and improving criminal laws. European Union EU member states agreed in principle to start a maritime security missions for the Red Sea. This information was announced by High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell after the bloc foreign ministers meeting on Monday. Accordingly, the EU security missions aims to ensure the safety and freedom of navigation of European and international commercial ships passing through the Red Sea. The European Red Sea security missions will operate independently and will not participate in the US-led Red Sea coalition. Specifically, the EU will deploy warships and airborne early warning systems to protect cargo ships in case of a threat. However, the EU has not yet clearly determined which country will take command of this mission. Braving bitter cold weather, archaeologists in Serbia have surveyed the site of an ancient Roman triumph arch, one of the only handful in the Balkans. Through insightful research and excavations, the archaeologists have further shed light on vestiges of the ancient Roman arch that date back to the 3rd century. More on the following story.
The triumphal arch was discovered in December at the site of Viminatium, a Roman city near the town of Kostolac, 70 kilometers east of Belgrade.
Viminatium is now enriched with a triumphal arch, which is an object that is not very common, especially not in this southeastern part of Europe. There were about 20 of them in Rome, maybe more. There are also some in the surrounding area. The closest one was in Thessaloniki, but here in this region, this is the first triumphal arch.
Viminatium was a sprawling Roman city of 45,000 people with a hippodrome, fortifications, a forum, palace, temples, an amphitheatre, aqueducts, baths, and workshops. It existed between the 1st and 6th centuries. The Serbian archaeologists hope to detect and collect more fragments of the arch.
We see buildings that date back to the 2nd century when this area of the city was an elite neighborhood, and the arch was constructed in the early 3rd century. We discover the true preferences and habits of the people living in this area of the city, as evidenced by the imported ceramics, Rhodes amphorae used for wine shipping, and Black Sea amphorae as well.
Discoveries so far include 2 Roman ships, golden tiles, coins, jade sculptures, religious items, mosaics, frescoes, weapons, and the remains of 3 mammoths.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download a mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.